There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Movie companies are going to look at her and they're going to say box office poison. And a lot of this is due to her behavior leading up to the film's release.
After months enduring a relentless firestorm of criticism, with whispers of career self-destruction echoing online, Rachel Zegler finally broke her silence. The star at the center of Disney's Snow White controversy attempted to address the intense backlash fueled by her own polarizing comments about the beloved 1937 classic. But as her carefully worded statements emerged, a crucial question lingered. Was this a genuine change of heart? A desperate PR-mandated rescue mission for a potentially sinking film, or simply far too little, much too late? The intense scrutiny she faced suggested that reclaiming goodwill would be an uphill battle. In her more recent remarks, Zegler appeared to strike a dramatically different tone. She expressed deep respect for the Disney legacy and the original animated feature, insisting her earlier, widely circulated criticisms were never intended to degrade the classic tale. She emphasized her appreciation for the opportunity and her genuine enthusiasm for bringing the iconic princess to life. This stood in stark contrast to the comments that initially ignited the inferno, where she had seemingly mocked the prince as a stalker, dismissed the love story as outdated, and positioned her Snow White as a leader far removed from dreams of romance. Fans were left wondering which version of Zegler's perspective was authentic.
It doesn't need a prince to save her, and not surrounded by 7 weird people. Oh, okay, just CGI fictional goblins, I guess.
The skepticism surrounding her apparent reversal ran deep. Given the reports of the film encountering significant hurdles, possibly at the box office or in audience testing, many observers immediately suspected the guiding hand of a public relations team. Was this newfound reverence for the source material a calculated move to salvage the film's financial prospects and quell the negative buzz affecting ticket sales? Critics pointed to the perceived insincerity, referencing earlier, possibly studio-mandated, attempts at enthusiasm like tweets proclaiming excitement to play the role, which now felt hollow to some. The sentiment echoed by commentators that perhaps actresses should remain quiet, or that she should have voiced her criticisms before accepting Disney's money, only hardened the cynical view that this was strategic damage control.
To go out and badmouth everybody and talk smack about, older movies in the same franchise, the canon story, I guess?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I feel like they would have had better control over that.
Regardless of Zegler's clarifications, the fundamental conflict at the heart of the remake remained unresolved. The film's deliberate pivot away from the original's romantic core towards a narrative focused on Snow White's inner journey and finding her voice as a leader continued to be a major sticking point. Zegler herself confirmed this shift, stating plainly, "It's really not about the love story at all." While some might see this as a wonderful update for legions of fans attached to the traditional fairy tale elements, this core creative gamble felt like a betrayal of the story's essence, a disconnect her later words couldn't easily bridge.
This girl took the money and then decided that she wanted to go out there and, you know what, I'm going to take my stand. Well, you should have made that stand before you took the money to promote a film, because that's not in line with your job description.
In what many perceived as another move to reshape the narrative, Zegler took to social media, sharing childhood photos of herself dressed as various iconic Disney princesses. The likely intention was clear: to counter the persistent accusations of ingratitude and prove a lifelong admiration for the very legacy she was accused of disrespecting. The reaction, however, was predictably mixed. While some fans accepted the post as genuine displays of affection, others dismissed them as a clumsy attempt at damage control, orchestrated to temper the relentless blowback. This tactic only instigated further intense online debate about her suitability for the role, set against the backdrop of incredibly harsh criticisms labeling her earlier comments as a psychopathic, demented rant and calling her an ingrate.
Right. I think this is their policies coming back to bite them. They went woke.
Yeah.
She went out and said stuff woke that was going to hurt the film. They couldn't come out and go against her, because then you're going after somebody for saying what you say you believe.
Behind the scenes, The controversy reportedly had the full attention of Disney's top brass. Whispers suggested that executives, potentially including CEO Bob Iger himself, were observing fan responses to every new promotional snippet and interview with acute interest. The studio found itself walking an incredibly precarious tightrope, attempting to balance the lucrative appeal of nostalgia with the perceived need to modernize its properties for contemporary audiences. This Snow White adaptation starkly highlighted the amplified power of social media, where fan disapproval could rapidly mushroom from niche complaints into widespread outrage, potentially forcing studios to reconsider casting, plot direction, or even overall strategy.
But at the same time, like, I think going forward, they're going to be like, hey, shut up.
Yeah.
Tight-lipped. Otherwise, guess what? We're clawing back some money.
Yeah. This would have been a lot better if they, had a strong male along with her.
The production itself represented this delicate balancing act. The creative team aimed for a working harmony between tradition and innovation. They brought in celebrated composers Benj Pasek and Justin Paul to craft music that hopefully retained the classic Disney enchantment alongside new songs. The cast included actors embodying recognizable roles like Martin Kleba reportedly bringing Grumpy to life, alongside new characters like Andrew Burnap's Jonathan, intended to add a modern dimension. Yet, the widespread controversy surrounding Zegler and the core changes, particularly concerning the Seven Dwarfs' ultimate portrayal via CGI, suggested that this intended blend failed to achieve resonance, instead becoming a focal point for criticism.
I think they could have done all that woke shit. You want to cut woke? They could have done all that still. And as long as she had gone out and been like, well, we just have a different story. I like the old story, but we're doing a different one this time.
You're probably right.
The backlash would have been 10 times.
Yes. You're probably right.
The stakes, both for the star and the studio, remained incredibly high. Speculation about Rachel Zegler's future continued unabated. Would the lingering negativity permanently tarnish her burgeoning career, fulfilling predictions that she might be two and done? Or could a surprisingly resilient performance, if the film found an audience despite the backlash, allow her to navigate the controversy and cement her place in the industry? For Disney, the implications were equally profound. Would the Snow White experience lead to a more cautious approach to future live-action remakes? Or would they double down on bold reinterpretations? The outcome could significantly impact how the studio cultivates relationships with talent holding diverse, potentially polarizing, views on adapting classic material.
Jonah Platt, whose father helped produce the latest Snow White film, had some very harsh words for star Rachel Zegler.
For context, Variety wrote a report recently titled Inside Disney's Snow White Fiasco, Death Threats, Beefed Up Security, and a Social Media Guru for Rachel Zegler.
Our primary purpose is to entertain, and where we can entertain responsibly, obviously we try to do that. We try to have a positive impact on the world, but the first thing we need to do is entertain.
In the end, Rachel Zegler's attempted course correction did little to quell the storm. Deep skepticism about her motives persisted, and the fundamental disagreements over the film's creative direction remained unresolved. The Snow White remake, even before completing its journey through theaters and onto streaming platforms, had become a potent symbol of the fraught cultural debates surrounding the modernization of cherished classics. It stood as a fractured fairy tale, reflecting the tensions between respecting legacy and embracing change. The final verdict on both Zegler's portrayal and the film's success remained fiercely contested, leaving audiences to grapple with a complex saga of ambition, backlash, damage control, and the undeniably volatile power of nostalgia in the modern entertainment landscape.